Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast today, brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. Check them out at bosshotshells.com. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Today's my day. It's June 25th. Hopefully you can help me connect some of the dots here, because this is an event I should know more about, considering I'm doing it over, but all this period of history is kind of confusing to me.
Give me some hints.
One of the biggest military blunders in history happens today. U.S. history. I can't go the entire world.
The military blunder. Go ahead, give me more than that.
If I give you any more, you're going to know. Let me think here how to do this without giving it away. This guy is, I don't know. I can't. Cowboys and Indians. I can't think of anything else. Custer. I
was stumped because I was thinking overseas fighting.
No.
Yeah, you're talking about Little Bighorn.
And Battle of Little Bighorn happens today.
It's crazy when you go there, too, and you look around, and it just doesn't... I don't know what I was expecting.
What do you mean?
I don't know what I was expecting. I've always read about it and stuff, and about how they sneak up on them and massacre them and stuff. And
why, can you see there or what?
Fucking for 400 miles.
This acts like there's like trees somewhere.
There was a creek that right now, I don't understand why they couldn't see everybody over by the interstate. The interstate runs right by it.
Right.
But it's not what I was expecting. Mm-hmm. I guess I was expecting something kind of like hidden, like in a valley or something with mountains on both sides.
Where they couldn't see the enemy coming?
Yeah, but it's pretty wide open. It'd be like someone sneaking up on you in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh. Well, I don't know. 210 men of the U.S. Army 7th Cavalry Unit, led by Lieutenant Colonel George Custer, confronted thousands of Lakota, Sioux, and Northern Cheyenne warriors. I think this is why this period of American history is so confusing to me, because all the Indian names and like they're together and they're not. They met on June 25th, 1876, near the Little Bighorn River in present-day Montana. The engagement was won in a series of battles and negotiations between Plains Indians and U.S. forces over control of the Western Territory, collectively known as the Sioux Wars. So I'm assuming this is where we sent them to first, right? And then we found the gold or whatever, and now we're trying to take them to their reservations.
You're going to get me a line to you about some of this, but this was definitely had something to do with the stuff in the Black Hills, I think.
Right. Custer earned a certificate for teaching grammar school in 1856, but he had much grander goals. The following years, he entered the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, where he was a less than stellar candidate. Custer graduated dead last in his class of 1861, but he did graduate. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, Custer joined the Union's Army Cavalry and soon proved himself a competent and reliable soldier in battles, such as the First Battle of Bull Run, and he was at the Battle of Gettysburg. He was promoted several times, and by the end of the war, he was Major General in charge of a cavalry division. So, the Great Plains was the last Native American holdout in America as settlers colonized the far west. Before the Civil War, few had put down roots in the plains due to its dry weather and large indigenous population. But after the Civil War, far west land became scarcer, and the U.S. government granted 10% of the plains lands to settlers and railroads. A confrontation between Plains Indians against the settlers and government forces was inevitable. By the late 1860s, most Native Americans had been forced onto so-called Indian reservations or killed outright. Vowing to avoid the same fate, the Plains Indians settled in for a long and fierce holdout. So I'm going to fast track everything just a little bit. Basically, what led to this is, from what I gathered, Custard was in charge of rounding up all of these remaining Indians on this particular swath of land and moving them to
resettling them.
Basically, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. They actually had in 1873. They had a little skirmish with Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. So in 1876, the U.S. government signed a treaty recognizing South Dakota's Black Hills as part of the Great Sioux Reservation. However, the government had a change of heart and decided to break the treaty in 1874.
When gold was found.
When Custer led an excursion of miners who had began looking for gold into the Black Hills. Custer was tasked with relocating all Native Americans in the area to reservations. By January 31st, 1876, any person who did not comply would be considered hostile. So we get to the battle. Custer, not Custard. He dispatched 3 columns of soldiers. So you had all these guys, and he basically breaks them up into different, taking different things on. The plan was for Custer's cavalry and Brigadier General Alfred Terry's infantry to rendezvous with troops under the command of Colonel John Gibbon and Brigadier General George Crook. They'd then find the Native Americans, surround them, and force them to surrender. Crook was delayed, but Terry, Custer, and Gibbon met in mid-June. After a scouting party found a trailhead toward Little Bighorn Valley, they decided Custer should move in, surround the tribe, and await for reinforcements. Custer forged ahead, but things did not go up as planned. Around midday on June 25th, his scouts located Sitting Bull's camp. Instead of waiting for reinforcements, however, Custer planned a surprise attack for the next day. He moved it up when he thought the Native American force had discovered their position. Custer divided his more than 600 men into 4 groups. He ordered 1 small battalion to stay with the supply train, and the other 2, led by Captain Frederick Benteen and Major Marcus Reno, to attack from the south and prevent tribesmen from escaping. Custer would lead the final group, 200 men strong, and plan the attack from the north. Reno's group attacked first, but swiftly embarked a disorganized retreat after realizing they were completely outnumbered. By the time they regrouped, at least 30 troops were dead. Now, nobody really knows what happened to Custer because nobody survived. So, Benteen and Reno, they said they heard it all going on. I think they were about 3 miles away from what I had read. Heard a lot of gunfire for about an hour, and then that was it. So, Custer died from 2 shots, 1 to the head, 1 to the heart. Either one would have killed him. I'm sure he was already dead, and they were just walking around shooting people in the head to make sure that they
wiped them all out,
that they were dead. So, killed all of his men, and then it kind of gets real for the Native Americans. I think the U.S. kind of went all in.
Yeah, that kind of opened
after
up.
That.
It's kind of the same things going on in Iran. Right now, we're just kind of dicking around, but if Iran does do something in a big city to a bunch of Americans or something, then it's going to be lights out then.
Yeah. So anyway, Battle of Little Bighorn. All right. My person that died today. This is going to be another one I'm going to have a hard time giving hints for because it is pretty blatant.
When they die?
2009.
Okay.
He was 50 years old.
Okay.
13 Billboard Hot Number Ones singles.
Michael Jackson. Well, I remember this day. We were in St. George Island, Florida.
We were vacationing. Born in Gary, Indiana. He died in Los Angeles, California.
Hold on now. Born a poor black kid, died a rich white woman.
He did do that. He was dubbed the King of Pop
And he deserved it. He was badass.
I'm not a fan of his stuff.
Well,
got to be honest with you.
Amazing artist.
Everything is okay.
Huh? Whatever.
What songs of his do you drive down the road and like, ooh, I want to put on Michael Jackson
PYT.
and get boogie with it?
PYT.
None of it.
Billie Jean.
None of it.
Man in the Mirror. ABC.
It's all, yeah.
No.
Who drives down the road listening to ABC?
Well,
Nobody.
But PYT.
Nobody.
Billie Jean.
I don't understand it.
I'm telling you right now, when Thriller came out,
Thriller's a good song. I'm not taking anything away from it.
Thriller's one of the worst songs on the whole album. But when that album came out, sometimes there'd be 3 or 4 of them songs in the top 10. That, and then you know what followed it up, has nothing to do with Michael Jackson, was Purple Rain by Prince. Back to back years of just great musicians.
I think Prince's music is light years better than Michael Jackson. Does anybody turn on Beat It and drive down the highway and just jam out and have a really good time with it?
A bunch of women do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. Y'all were tricked. Y'all were tricked into thinking he was a good artist because he could moonwalk.
He was
Y'all were
transformational.
Y'all
I
were
guess is the word. Yeah, well, he is. I don't care much for any of the things he did personally. I don't at all. I think he had a lot of issues. I'm not talking about but I'm talking about talent wise. And as an entertainer, there has never been anybody better than Michael Jackson.
I don't understand it. Maybe I'm alone here.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe this is your generation deal. Maybe people my age don't care.
The shit y'all with Travis Scott ain't even close.
I'm just saying I don't get the Michael Jackson craze. Jackson was tried and acquitted of several sexual abuse charges. I don't know.
King's grandkids.
I kind of believe where there's smoke, there's fire.
On him on the sexual stuff with kids?
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you. I'm not, that's what I'm saying. You have to be careful about what you defend him on.
Right.
And I would.
No, I'm just saying personally.
But he does.
Professionally, I mean.
But yes, I believe that if there's smoke, there's fire on a lot of that stuff. Right. But I also believe that he was one hellacious entertainer.
We can separate we're mature enough to separate the two. I'll say that. Died from propofol. Too much.
He was a screwed up kid. Another child star but he's one of the few child stars that went into his adulthood and never slowed down.
Right. And I mean, he was the biggest.
He was the king of pop.
Aside from Elvis.
I mean, you got Elvis Presley and you got Michael Jackson. And
how could you not be fucked up though?
As we get older, yeah, I agree. As we get older, we're going to find out that Elvis Presley is going to fade away to where people don't really know much about him anymore.
100%.
And Michael Jackson, the same thing will happen. And then there'll be somebody else. But those two, they changed the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would bet that Michael Jackson's Super Bowl halftime performance was one of the greatest ever. Mm-hmm. He was an amazing, but he was a weird dude. You know, we were in Vegas one time when he was there, and he rented a theater, the whole theater to himself.
Yeah.
And just, he watched the movie by himself. He just was a weird dude.
Yeah, but he probably had to.
Oh, he everywhere he would go, these people would, like if Michael Jackson walked down the road in Knox City, Texas, I'm not going to drive down the street to go see him.
Really?
I'm just not into celebrities like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if he was, people would just everywhere would go like crazy. It's nuts, the fanfare that he had.
And again, it seemed like he died owing money.
Yeah, but sometimes these celebrities, them being broke and me and you being broke are two different things.
Let's read this. I haven't read this yet, but let's just read it. 1989, Jackson's annual earnings from album sales, endorsements, and concerts were estimated at $125 million. Placed Jackson's annual income at $35 million in 96, $20 million in 97. Jackson has been one of the wealthiest celebrities and musical artists. Estimates of Jackson's net worth during his life range from negative $285 million to positive $350 million. So about broke even. For 2002, 2003, and 2007. Forbes reported in August 2018 that Jackson's total career pre-tax earnings in his life and death were $4.2 billion. Sales of his record through Sony's music unit earned him an estimated $300 million in royalties. He may have earned another $400 million from concerts, music publishing, including his share of the Beatles catalog.
Yes, which he owned.
Endorsements, merchandising, and music videos. In 2013, the executors of Jackson's estate filed a petition to the U.S. tax court as a result of a dispute with the IRS over estate taxes. The executors claimed that it was worth about $7 million, while the IRS said that it was worth over $1.1 billion. In February 2014, the IRS reported that Jackson's estate owed $702 million, $505 million in taxes, and $197 million in penalties to get to the 702. In 2021, the tax court issued a ruling in favor of the estate, ruling that the estate's total combined value estimate was $111.5 million, and that the value of Jackson's name and likeness was $4 million. None of that makes sense to me.
I don't either.
In 2016, Ford estimated annual gross earnings by the Jackson estate at $825 million, the largest ever recorded for a celebrity, mostly due to the sale of his catalog. 2018, the figure was $400 million. So, if you listen to the IRS, he owed $702 million. If you listen to the court, I guess they were undervaluing his property. I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of that. But anyway, he did die today. And now, quickly, my guy that was born today, he was the original creator of The Office.
Steve Carell.
Nope. Ricky Gervais.
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm kind of fudging it a little bit. He had a British version of The Office before the American version.
Okay.
He created the British version of The Office. He was born today. The reason I picked him is he gave one of the greatest, I think it was the Golden Globes or Academy Awards, where he just roasted everybody there. So kind of an
he's been invited back since then.
Probably not. Kind of an interesting guy. He also has a really good show. It's called Idiot Abroad.
It is funny.
Travel documentary. If you hadn't seen it, you can probably catch it on like BBC or something. I'm sure you can stream it somewhere. But
it's like the Jackass without all the Jackass stuff, jacking with a guy.
Basically, yeah. I mean, they just kind of plop a guy in the middle of nowhere and
was it an old childhood friend of his? That's
just middle of downtown, wherever
Bangladesh,
and it's like, all right, good luck. We'll see. We'll catch you at the end of the week, and it just kind of follows him. So it's a really funny show. Outside of that, I mean, I hadn't really watched anything that he's ever done. I've never watched a movie and be like, oh, Ricky Gervais is in there. Looking at his filmography, yeah, nothing. But he did start The Office, and The Office is one of my favorite shows. So there we go. Okay, that is June 25th. Please be safe. Love you. Bye.
Peace. God bless you.